6:32, and just for everyone's information, we do have a regular Board of Finance meeting scheduled for 6:30, which we will convene first. I think that should only take just a few minutes. And then we will call, if you just put there, so if you call the meeting to order, and all members are present except for Mikkel, but I'm sure she'll be here at some point. So we have consideration of minutes of the special meeting of January 29th.
Move to approve.
Motion approved, seconded. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
And the minutes are adopted. I have no correspondence. Any correspondence? I have no correspondence. New business, consideration of budget memo transfer number 5.
Move the budget to approve budget memo transfer number 5.
Is there a second on the motion? Second on Mr. Marlowe. Any discussion on the motion?
This is just a question on the regular wages. If there's unfilled position, is that what it was?
I mean, transfer?
Yeah, 176,000.
I can probably elaborate on that.
Yeah.
We, for the most part, there is some savings, due to perhaps vacant positions for a time period, but in essence, the bulk of this 176,000 is from the 150,000 reimbursement for the SROs from the Board of Education. So we're
okay.
using that, instead of going back to the general fund per se, it's going to be used to cover this deficit in the severance police account.
Where did that come from, Peter? State?
No, from the Board of Education's contribution.
And we had 9 retirements this year, which is a significant amount. So
Yes.
more retirements than the normal. I don't know, if it's normal, but.
Yes, 9, that's correct, 9 retirements.
Although, I'm sorry, just for clarification, many of those retirements we've already hired people for that are in the academy. Some we have and some we have. So you won't see a full savings in that.
But the reason why the severance.
That's correct. The reason
severance
why the
was
severance
down.
is over budget by such a high amount is due to the extraordinary number of police retirements this fiscal year, 9
Okay.
long-time police employees.
So we take the SRO money, put it into the police budget rather than general fund? Is that how you did it?
What would happen is it would go to, into the regular wages to help offset the salaries of those
Okay.
4 SROs. And if we didn't have this deficit, the money normally would go back to the general fund at the end of the fiscal year to reimburse our fund balance. But in this case, we really could use it to address this deficit.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Move to approve budget memo transfer number 6.
Motion by Mr. Castagnoli, is there a second? Second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Peter, any staff report?
Not at this time.
Okay, we will have a motion to adjourn the Board of Finance regular meeting.
So move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Marlowe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Okay, we will reconvene the Board of Finance budget hearings for 2015-2016 budget. And if I could have a motion to reorder the agenda so that we would take 4133 probate court first, followed by law department 4131, in order to accommodate
So move.
some conflicts.
Second. Page 26.
26, and there's a motion to reorder. Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to pass. Beverly? you?
Thank you for reordering the agenda to accommodate high school orientation. I can see that there already. I'm my youngest. So this year's budget is a flat funding request compared to last year's. I do note that every year we do stay under budget, but wish to maintain the current level of funding because it's just an area where it's unforeseen at times, the level of postage and copying and reports needs will be for each year. As you may recall, this is only Milford's share of the probate court budget. 100% of the budget is shared on a 75-25% split that is determined by statute based on the needs per capita in each community. So Orange, the town of Orange will also receive a bill for their 25% share of the total budget. And then what we do through Peter's office every month is allocate the 25% of expenditures from Orange budget into the general fund for this school. So we're continually reimbursing from the fund that's set aside of their funds. And actually, each year we have a bit of surplus accruing in that account. And we do anticipate, in the next year, we anticipate having to replace one of our Laserfish scanners. And so some of the funds will actually be able to be utilized from that surplus that's accrued.
Thank you.
One question I have to you, Brian. The governor's going to cut the probate monies. Is that going to affect this budget at all? No.
No.
No. That's.
And I believe that that's going to all be subject to negotiation, at least I'm optimistic that it will be.
Okay,
It won't affect the municipality's obligations.
okay.
Very good. Anything further?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
The next item is law department, and I will actually be recusing myself from this matter.
You take it over.
Joe.
24.
So,
Good evening. Thank you very much for accommodating an 11 and 8-year-old in their home responsibilities. My wife is out of town, so I'm single parenting this week. It's a lot of fast food and late bedtimes. Budget, my budget for this fiscal year is identical other than the wage adjustments, contractual wage adjustments, miscellaneous wage adjustments, but everything else is the same as it has been, I think, the last previous 2 years.
so, there are no wage adjustments?
There are, that's the, should be.
They would be reflected though in a reserve account.
Oh,
Because
okay.
the folks in this department, their current collective bargaining unit is in discussions right now. Their contract expired 7/1. So it'd be in a salary reserve account.
So that's, okay, so that's
That's
why I don't
why
see
it's
it
static,
here.
right, that's
Yeah,
why
you
you're
don't
not
see
seeing
it.
the adjustment
Okay.
here.
Okay. All right.
Are the paralegals and legal administrator, are they full-time positions?
Everybody's full-time, except
Everybody
for
is.
me.
Okay.
And there's an additional trial counsel that's also a part-time position as well.
Not here, listen.
He's
No,
reflected in this
it's,
budget.
After he's, my position is at the top, Mr.
Right.
Fitzpatrick, then Assistant City Attorney Paralegal, you have 2 legal administrative assistants, and the Assistant City Attorney / trial counsel, that's Matthew Poole's position.
Oh.
And he does land use appeals and tax appeals.
It's been answered for me before, but I keep forgetting what risk manager does for us.
Risk manager procures our insurance, negotiates our insurance, both in general liability, professional liability, our property insurance, works with our insurance consultants as well as with Kerma, our insurance carrier that we currently have our insurance placed with. She also effectively manages interfaces for all our workers' comp.
Oh,
claims, administers the claims with our third-party administrator, PMA.
Is that a legal position?
It is.
It is.
She was, Peter, I always confuse this, but until last year, she was formerly in your department, but
Right.
situated in personnel. Since I got here, I always, historically, my private practice, I've worked with risk managers, both on the investigation of claims and the administration of claims and defending claims. So I was working with Kim Keller, risk manager, on a day-to-day basis. And it was always my desire to bring her under my umbrella in my department. And we made that change last year. Both geographically
That's what
as
I,
well as reflected on the budget. So she's now in City Hall and the city attorney's office with me.
okay. Now, the law books, this is the, every year you read, these are the updating books, is that what that is?
It's the updating of the books, and it's also our online legal research subscription. It's the mayor, when he was an alderman, made a famous line that we could just run over to the courthouse, scurry ourselves to the courthouse, I think was the phrase, Mr. Mayor, right? We successfully negotiated that down within the last 2 years. Instead of paying, thousands, $4,000 just for the computer, we now pay about $100 a month, less than $1,500 a year for our online legal subscription by changing our online provider. But there's also updates, statutory updates, there's labor reporters, things that we get on a monthly basis to make sure that the law that we cite is up to date and still enforceable.
You're not actually ordering law books, right?
Not
Right.
law books,
That's
yeah.
what I mean.
The only law book I think that we get is still hardback, is the practice book, which, the rules of practice evolve each year
Okay.
on the legislative way.
I'm all set.
I'm all set. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, take care of those little guys.
Ethics.
Oh,
You changed my mind.
electrics, 25.
132.
There's
Are there any questions on this?
I don't have any,
No, I don't have any.
no.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Now, where are we going?
We'll go back to the top of the agenda.
43.
Police Department, 4310.
43.
Well, I heard that.
Yeah.
You're solo today, well, we'll take it easy on you.
I don't have their, she's not here.
Take care, Beth.
Well, if you'd like to make a statement, we're certainly willing to, otherwise I think we can,
I think just a quick statement, this year's budget reflects, for the most part, the contractual wage increase in the personnel accounts, not all the personnel accounts, some of those increases will have to absorb. The remainder of the budget, there's no growth, no new programs, it just maintains the current operation, current infrastructure.
I have a couple of questions behind it. Overtime went up 15,000,
Sir, overtime, that number, while it appears to go 15,000, it's actually much greater. The overtime costs are about 670,000. But when you look at what we spend compared to what other police departments our size and complexity spend, they're well into over $1 million, 1.2, 1.4 million. Same size, same cost for services. So that number is while there's an increase, it still doesn't come close to what we actually spend if you look year after year.
And with the dog, how many dogs do we have now?
We have 4, we just
Oh,
added
we
2.
have 4.
We just added 2 dogs within the last few months.
Okay, now, the home care is 19,000, then we have food care of 3,000 under the other side of the budget there. Why isn't that 3,000 included in this figure here?
Well, the 3,000 are, reflects the food that we buy them so they can feed their dogs. That number you're looking at, that stipend for the canine home care, that's set by federal law, that we have to pay them a stipend
Right.
for their off-duty care of the dog.
Oh, so, okay, I
So
got
just
it.
to keep those two separate.
Separate items, okay.
Yes, that's a wage.
So we got 4 now, okay. When did we just step to recently?
We just finished in December, graduated 2 from the academy. They go to school for like 4 months, so they were in school a while. We've actually had the dogs for almost a year.
Mhm. I think that's all I had. Oh, test and evaluations. That went up by $4 grand.
We have a promotional test this year. The testing is getting very expensive, but we have a promotional test every other year. We test for sergeant, lieutenant, and captain, and so we have to buy those test booklets, pay the consultant to administer that test every other year.
Who administers that?
We use the South Central Regional Criminal Justice Association. They outsource to a vendor. We stay clear of that. We don't know who the vendor's going to be or what's going to be in the test until after it's completed.
Okay, great.
What's in professional services?
Are you talking about 4151, sir? Or are you talking about 4150?
50.
4150, that's computer services, contractual services to pay for the networking and maintenance of our computer network. We have an extremely sophisticated network. We have 32 servers, and we're still using some on-duty staff, police officers, to do that. The 3 police officers that we had that had some expertise have retired. So this is going to be a difficult year. While we do get some support from MIS, it's minimal, it's about 12 hours a week. And you can imagine what it takes to run servers, 32 servers and a large network. In my view, or I've been told that our network is as sophisticated, if not more sophisticated than the entire city combined. I'll leave that to Gene Lossick to define, but that was how it was explained to me by the consultant.
So you contract with a consultant? to do
We
that?
contract, we do as much as we can internally. We use Gene Lossick. She's been given us a lot of assistance as often as possible. For the most part, we have police officers that have to learn the skills on how to do most of the maintenance and network. And then whatever we can do, we outsource to a business network.
Okay, a business network?
That's the city's vendor, yes.
Okay. And it was also the city's vendor?
That's the city's vendor. We use the same vendor.
Oh, okay.
We actually coordinate any type of service through MIS.
Oh, you, okay,
Yes.
good. Good.
One other question.
Sure.
Anybody else? Under the dispatches, we have 6 dispatchers, right? And the fire department has 8. I thought there was going to be a
Consolidation.
consolidation. Has it been done, or is it?
That's a good question. We had laid a dispatcher off 4 years ago, and so when we need 8 dispatchers, and whenever there's not a civilian dispatcher, we have to put a police officer in there. It's a lot of money training to put a police officer in the dispatch center. Well, we combined the function of dispatch, where PD and fire now are in the same facility, answering the same lines. We can't cross-train them, we can't fully integrate them until we hire civilian dispatchers, because we can't expect police officers to be dispatching fire calls. They're not trained to do that, and fire would want that, and we couldn't do that. So unless and until we can hire additional civilian dispatchers at a lower rate than certainly than a firefighter or police officer, then we can fully integrate into a dispatch center where we can, where they can be cross-trained to do each other's work, and I think we can also reduce our workload as well, the amount of staff we have in there. The mayor and I have been talking about this quite a bit, and it's something that it's on the drawing board.
But for the follow-up on that question, 2 years ago, we did combine or consolidate fire and police
Right.
dispatch into one central location. So physically, they're working out of the same room. And there's the expectation that at some point, we're going to actually move forward with that, have a conversation with the 2 separate unions and see if there's any efficiencies that can be gained.
Because all the communication equipment was all moved into one spot, right?
Right.
Where is the location of the
Is that the police department? We share the same infrastructure. So there's been some efficiencies there, and there's some economies of scale just in the way we managed our design, our radio system and the dispatch center.
It means we have to maintain one piece of equipment instead of two.
Right.
It also is better from a public safety standpoint because there's not the transfer of the call from the fire station to the police station.
Right.
We also get more money back from the state. They incentivize the fact that we have one consolidated PSAP center instead of two separate ones within the city. So there are a whole bunch of advantages to consolidation. From a personnel standpoint, that is something that may happen in the future.
Okay. How many are on duty at that one point in time during the day?
There's 2 PD and 2 fire.
2 and 2?
You're in all 3 shifts. There's always 4 people in there.
That's right, okay, so we're talking, okay.
Right, and we're looking at the data now, and we believe that we can reduce that at some point on some of the non-peak times to 3 as opposed to 4. However, we have to be able to consolidate those 2 unions, those 2 sets of employees, and we need to remove the police officers from there and put civilian dispatchers in there.
They're all different unions too,
We
right?
have 2, we have PD as a
Fire.
dispatcher union and fire dispatcher.
Now that, what's the CMed, you know, that town thing? What is that, CMed? No.
Yeah, that's,
The one we're talking about.
the fire department usually coordinates with CMed. That is a link between the hospitals and the ambulances and really any of the rescue trucks too. It also does mass casualty situations. It calls in additional ambulances from other towns or regions if necessary. But that is a line of communication between the hospitals and our ambulances.
Now, so the police is not involved in that?
To some extent they're involved. They deal with
They would
CMed,
just
but
between the police and the fire then, right?
the rescue folks from the fire department are the primary interface between CMed and the city.
Okay.
The police department manages the entire PSAP system now. We took control of all of the infrastructure, and so while we don't involve ourselves in the CMed function because those are medicals, we maintain whatever infrastructure, computer and dispatch and communication infrastructure that's used.
Okay. Almost set, thank you.
I just had a question on the SROs. The Board of Education budget, I think, had 2 additional student resource officers. That's not reflected in your budget.
No, we didn't, those aren't requested in our budget. But I support that, I think it's a great idea. We'd love to see that, but we didn't have room in our budget to include that.
Mr. Mayor, do you know how that would, my recollection was that the Board of Ed budgeted half of the cost of 2 SROs?
Yeah, there was a discussion that we had, Chief Mello and I, in terms of whether it would be something that we would be able to include in the budget, and it just in terms of the numbers, it was not available for this year. If it's not something that's going to be reflected in the city budget, it's not arguably something that's going to be reflected in the Board of Ed side either, because they just reimburse half of the cost of the SROs.
Okay, so. And then, again, related to the SROs, now those officers are basically assigned to the schools during the school year, and then my recollection was during the summer,
They're back into patrol.
back into patrol. Is there an emphasis on downtown for patrol, or is it just back into rotation?
No, there's an emphasis on downtown. We utilize our community policing unit. We have a special unit that goes to where the problem areas are the high call volume areas that increase demand. Milford Center is one of those on the weekends in the evening. And so it allows us, if you notice on the overtime for cops, 4112-9948. But that's been reduced. We used to request 50,000 because we have the SROs in the mix. They don't have to. We're able to reduce that number significantly into a savings. Now the SROs, they tend to, while the school year, they don't have the whole summer because they finish late and then they start early right before school starts. Kind of a teacher schedule for the most part. And they're involved in some of the planning that takes place, safety planning and security planning throughout the summer.
Do they have special training?
Yes,
They do.
And those SROs they're at two of the high schools, and then the other two.
rotate between the middle schools and the academy.
Do you recall what the Board of Ed's proposal was for their two additional SROs? Was it kind of
I believe their request, my discussions with the Board of Ed is they'd like to see a SRO in each of the secondary schools, the
Okay.
middle schools, the academy, and the high schools. And the program's been great, it's been very successful, and both in our end and on the Board of Ed's perspective as well.
Okay. Thank you. Any further?
No.
No.
Great, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
4340, animal control.
5-9.
Good evening, Howard. This is your second year on this?
Second.
Second, that's what I thought. Okay, welcome back. Certainly welcome to make a statement if you like, otherwise we can open up the floor. If anyone comes to the board.
Let's open it up.
Seasonal temporary account, what are we using that for?
Right now, that's for like when kitten season, spring, fall. We do work with like Chapel Haven Bridges. We bring in like special needs people. And they do light cleaning, things like that. So it provides them a bit of a job experience. And that's pretty much it for now.
Bridges?
Yeah, Bridges, Chapel Haven.
It wouldn't come out of their budget?
No.
Well, they gotta be paid. He's paying them
I know.
to do the,
As
to
a
do
job.
work, right?
Well, Bridges get money to,
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know, it was always in place that way before I even
yeah,
started.
right.
Well, you have a contract with them, or?
No, not really. She acts just as a seasonal employee and then we pay her. She's at will, so she can come and go.
Okay. Okay, what's rabies control?
Rabies control is our feral cat program, to help keep down the feral cats. We run a program where citizens will trap the cats, then they'll take them to a designated vet, they'll be spayed, get a rabies shot, and re-released. That way they can't keep having kittens.
Do you do that with other wild animals?
No, it's just cats, because certain places it seems like cat populations keep growing, and then the citizens get a little upset because cats are everywhere. But it's an ongoing issue as long as people keep getting unneutered cats and then dumping them somewhere.
But I see in your request, I see that you're looking for a vehicle.
Yeah.
Which, to replace something? or-
Yeah, right now I have one truck that's pretty much going to the boneyard and one that has some mechanical difficulties. The chassis on it had rusted out so bad that the body was actually sliding onto a tire. Public Works, the garage, did what they could with it, but they figured it's only gonna last a year, and we've been driving it for probably about 6 months now.
And just to follow up with that, we're looking through our vehicle acquisition program to replace that vehicle, so it does not come out of the taxpayer budget. As you recall, a couple of years ago, we entered into a contract with the town of Orange to do work on their behalf. We have a separate reserve fund that Orange contributes to, which allows us to do things like replace capital equipment. So we're looking to use the money that Orange provides us to offset some of our costs, including the purchase of a new vehicle.
So how many vehicles do you have now, two?
Three. There's 2 officers and myself. We each have a vehicle. The vehicle I have is not really designed for more than one animal. One's a transit van and one's an '89 Ford Ranger type with the animal cabin back.
Are we
And
involved
that's-
with Woodbridge?
What's that?
We're not involved with Woodbridge at all, just Orange and Anthony? No?
Just Orange at this point.
Just Orange, okay.
Thank you.
All set, thank you. Very good, brother.
4801, Council on Aging. Good evening.
Good evening, I'm Janice Jackson, the Director of the Senior Center. With me is Mary Ellen Hirama, who's one of our bookkeepers. I brought our February bulletin and a pamphlet of services and programs for you to look over.
Thank you.
Just like to give you some general information about the senior center. We have 6 full-time employees, 29 part-time employees, and 8 teachers, with a total of 43 employees. That is approximately 20 employees less since 2001 and a 30% decrease in staff. Mayor Blake has recommended our request of a 0.95% in our budget. The amount of the increase is $12,349. We will use the increase to balance our budget. We are also in need of a new wheels vehicle. Presently, we have a 2001 and 2007 Dodge trucks with modular wheels. Last July, both vehicles were in the city garage due to mechanical issues. The drivers had to deliver meals in our food bank van that did not have air conditioning, and they needed to use coolers and hot boxes. If we were to purchase a new 2015 Meals on Wheels vehicle, it would cost approximately $40,000. We applied for a Meals on Wheels grant and received $3,050. Last year, our Meals on Wheels drivers delivered 9,826 meals to elderly and disabled clients in Milford. We have a total of 11 vehicles and 2 drivers. 2 drivers are full-time and 6 are part-time. Our transportation program transported 28,599 older adults and disabled individuals. Last year, we served 27,486 meals in our mini lunch program.
Can you go back on that, please? On the transportation?
Our transportation program transported 28,599 older adults and disabled individuals.
Okay, hold on a second.
That's the number of rides, right?
Right.
And you could have said transported the same person like 20 times, right? Yeah, so it's the number of rides.
And last year, I believe you had asked about how many drivers in vehicles and how many were part-time
No.
and how many were
I'm
full-time.
concerned about the number of doesn't the transit, these people can call the transit to get a ride too, can they not?
If we cannot accommodate them, yes, when they want to.
No, I mean, our transit district, do we?
We transport people in Milford and also to medical appointments. So if we're not able to accommodate them at a medical appointment, a day and a time, for example, we refer them to Milford Transit.
Why doesn't it go the other way? Where Milford Transit provides the rides instead of us?
Instead of the Milford Senior Center? Well, they do. They do provide transportation to.
But this is costing the senior center for all these rides, where otherwise people that could use a transit district,
And
it'll save you money. Instead of 28,000 people going through you, why don't we try to go 28,000 through the transit district, and then the transit district can't do all serious types of people? I'd like to reverse the costs. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're open more hours than we do, and they also transport to other cities. We just transport in Milford.
Right.
And the number of rides that Milford Transit District does greatly exceeds 29,000, probably 29,000 a day is
That's
probably
my next
the.
question, to the transit route, yeah.
Yeah, and they transport on weekends, we don't. We transport from 9 to, well, the drivers finish up about 4 to 4. So they have much longer hours than we do. And
Mhm.
again, we don't transport on holidays or weekends. We follow the school schedule as far as inclement weather, so if the schools are closed, we're closed, and they're not there, driving all the time.
And we also use buses, right? So we're
We-
transporting a bunch
You
of
what?
people. Like a bus,
Yes.
so a bunch of people in one part of town are
Mhm.
transported,
Right.
which is very efficient.
14 passenger vehicles. And we can transport people in wheelchairs and walkers, they have hydraulic lifts. Last year we served 27,486 meals in our mini lunch program. Our continental breakfast program served 5,030 seniors. Our insurance specialist served 3,455 clients. Social services served 8,539 clients with requests such as home care assistance, housing referrals, entitlement programs, and referrals to healthcare and assisted living facilities. Ways that we've saved money, we are always looking for ways to do things cheaper. For example, we eliminate a class that has low attendance. Also, when an employee retires, we try to hire someone for fewer hours. We replace the former employee with a volunteer if possible. Instead of mailing postcards to remind members to pay their membership dues, once a month, a volunteer will call members to remind them that their membership is past due. Approximately 2,000 members have paid their membership dues. We instituted a biweekly payroll system last year, a savings of approximately $4,500 a year.
Can I hold you there for a second? On the, oh, God. How many members do we have? 2,000?
Approximately, no, we have more than that.
Yeah.
But not all of them pay their dues.
Huh?
Not all of them pay their dues. But we
You
have,
throw them out?
no.
Uh,
We have a volunteer right now that calls people every month to remind them to pay their dues.
So when they come in, you don't check any identification for the due paying? Like if you go to the Y, you gotta have your card, you go to the gym, you gotta have a card, do you do that with the senior citizen?
Yes, well, they have to sign an attendance sheets when they attend a class, and then also when they first come in, they sign a book with their membership number,
Right. What if they don't have a membership number?
and they have to join. I mean, if they've lost, they get a card. If they've lost their card,
Right.
then
No,
we,
no. How many people are paying right now for dues? 2,000?
right now, we have 2,000.
And how many, if we got 28,000 rides, I mean, the balances are here, that people are not paying, they may be using the services. That's what I'm after.
I think it would be very small. The people in classes know each other, you know, the people at the senior center know each other pretty well. And, you know, they know there are people coming in.
Now, like all these people, these 28,000 rides, are they all members?
Yes.
Absolutely? Okay. Thank you.
Volunteers from the Milford Technology Advisory Group have volunteered their time to network our security camera system to 4 desktop computers. One of our members with an IT background has volunteered many hours to redesign our membership system. The Milford Board of Education has also donated computers for our employees and for our computer lab. We recently accepted a 2009 server from them. Payroll expenses have decreased approximately $23,836. In fiscal year 2013, our deficit was $107,138. In 2014, our deficit was $20,346. That is an 80% difference, or $86,792. Requests for food assistance from the Milford Food Bank have increased by 10%. 194 additional clients were assisted from the previous year. We had 358 new members in 2014, which is a 5% increase from the previous year. There was a 10% increase in attendance for our special events. 5,231 people attended in 2013, and 5,749 attended in 2014. We continue to use donation boxes in all our classes. We received approximately $8,661 in 2014. That is an 8% increase from 2013. Our membership dues were raised last year from $10 a year to $15 a year. That increases approximately $9,435 in dues, or 49% from the previous year. The senior center is open on Sundays from 12 to 4. Employee sells hot dogs, resulting in a profit of $2,166. Our consignment shop raised $8,555, an increase of 39% over last year. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes. I think last year you guys had a very high workers' comp insurance premium. It went up. Did your mod rate go down?
Yes, it did. I remember you asking that question. In 2013, it was 1.3%, and then in 2014, it went down to 1.06.
That's pretty good.
That's why we're doing so well on
Yeah,
that.
that's pretty good.
And the reason for that very high deficit was the workers' comp.
Right. We had a couple of bad accidents in the kitchen, right?
Yes,
Okay, so-
employees falling.
Right. So I guess the past year you didn't have any bad accidents and the mod rate went.
Well, we did have one woman that fell in the parking lot on ice.
An employee?
Yes.
Okay.
The meals, have that price has gone up, or they still the same as for the last year?
The mini lunch program is
No,
$3 for a meal,
Yeah,
or $1, 50 cents for a cup of soup, $1.25, $1.75 if someone gets soup and a sandwich. Is that what you're referring to?
no, the regular meals, you
The
get,
Meals on Wheels?
no, the other meal's more expensive than that, than $1. Don't you
Well, that's
know?
a sandwich.
That's
Are you
it?
talking about the home delivered meals?
No.
Meals on Wheels?
At
The
the,
mini lunch at the senior center?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a menu in the bulletin.
Mhm.
You have that, you can look at that.
That's the prices too, yeah.
Right, prices are
they did go up?
$3, no.
No.
We went up previously, but no. In the last
On
year.
page 7, a complete dinner is $3, includes soup
Oh, yeah.
and dessert, and also coffee and tea, rolls and butter are included with the dinners. And then a person can get a sandwich for $1.25 and get a cup of soup for 50 cents.
Most of the desserts are provided free, like Cook James, the food that we
They're
pick up, so
donated.
that's,
Huh?
most of the desserts are donated.
Uh-huh,
We go out
right.
and get
Are we
food.
getting
Mhm.
food from the supermarkets and all that, like ShopRite used to,
Yes.
still doing that?
Yes. Well, we have the food bank at the senior center, and so that we do get bread and cakes, pies, cookies, everything from ShopRite, Stop and Shop. Whole Foods donates occasionally.
You know, they donate produce at all?
Whole Foods?
Yeah, any of them, any produce from them, like lettuce or anything like that, or vegetables?
Occasionally, yes,
Occasionally.
yeah. And then in the summertime, the community gardens,
Mm-hmm.
people are very generous with donating.
Oh, yeah, right, I
vegetables.
heard that, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to Mayor White too, right?
Yes, thank you.
4803, Fine Arts Council. Good evening.
My name is Paige Milling, for those of you who don't know. I just want to say something about the Arts Council. Last year, I think I mentioned that we had a lot of facility issues. We were basically hit with about over $8,000 in abatement and damages for water infiltration to our basement area. And since then, through the support of the city and structural support from Milford Transit, we've had a lot of work done to the outside of the building. Of course, once it was done, everything froze up, so we're crossing our fingers to hope that between the thaw and any heavy rains that we have indeed fixed the problems and can therefore go forward with doing repairs to the basement and have it reopened up to the public. That being said, we've never had a line item for structural issues, so we have line item of $10,000 this year. We're lucky enough that we didn't have to go into it too much. We've had one instance of vandalism for the first time since the Arts Council has been there, both heavy to the patio and to the front entrance area. Today we had installation of a security camera, which will record both any everybody who comes up to the entrance as well as across the patio. So hopefully if anything happens, that we can share with the police or whatever, we'll be able to do that as well. Because we do have high activity, especially late evening, early morning hours with the trains in downtown. We've had some fluctuation with staff. We were 3.5 months without a business marketing director. We've since hired a part-time person for that position and just hired a new facility manager after being with that one for about 2.5, 3 months. We have been growing capacity. We're offering more daytime activities for adults at Fine Arts Council, Center for the Arts at the train station. And we are added one more week of theater camp in the summer for kids, and are developing 3 weeks of art camp to take place at the Firehouse Art Gallery.
I gotta say, enjoyed the last show, I went there.
The Last Romance?
Yeah.
It was wonderful. All 3 nights sold out this weekend.
How was the red carpet gala last night?
I was there until 2 a.m.
Uh-huh.
But we made the front cover of the Connecticut.
Yeah, that was cute.
So we had a woman call up who wanted to know if her 13-year-old daughter would be able to come with a girlfriend and dress to the nines and walk the red carpet, and I said, of course.
Yeah.
So they attended. They were absolutely adorable all night long, and we're getting in. So it was great to see. It was a fun night. It was a fun night.
Did you do any, whatever it's called, when you tell your kids you can't watch this thing, what do you call that?
Censoring?
Censoring.
They're the arts council, they don't censor anything.
Right, last night they
It's
should
art.
have. Last night they should have. Did you see that thing? The guy walking out with just his underwear on?
Wow.
Come on, that was classy. That was real classy. You jerk.
Yeah, I had a bubble, I guess.
Shouldn't you hate him?
Did you avert your eyes?
I did, I went like that.
Burn your cornets.
As soon as he came out of that dressing room, I went like that.
That's right.
Because he's ugly. Sorry about that. Okay,
Anything further? Well, thank you for coming out.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
4812, Transit District?
Good evening. My name's Henry Jadek, I'm the Executive Director of the Milford Transit District. Very briefly, for those of you who don't know, we have a local fixed-route bus service, a jobs access bus service that goes from Milford to Norwalk called the Coastal Link, run in conjunction with the Greater Bridgeport Transit District and the Norwalk Transit District. We have an ADA van service, a dial-a-rate service for seniors. We operate the 2 train stations and parking there for Metro Main parking. And our overall budget for the upcoming year is approximately $4.5 million, of which $3 million is operational funds, and the other 1.5 or so is capital budget. It's 80% funded by the Federal Transit Administration and 20% by the state of Connecticut. That's mostly for, excuse me, mostly for vehicle replacement. We're also doing some work at our facility ongoing, upgrade the facility. We just finished a hub at the mall. It's 3 long 25-foot structures that's lit and heated. It's almost finished, the heaters aren't in yet, and we have some checklist items to do before we open it up, so it'll be a little while, but that's been a long project that's finally going to end. The support we're asking for this same budget that we had last year. The mayor's beat me quite a bit, so I gave up. So we're asking for the same. It's certainly a significant amount of money, and it certainly puts Milford at a good place transportation-wise in respect to how we deal with the other agencies and how Milford's looked upon as some supporting public transportation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Now the question is, how many of the transits do we do with these buses, you know, the Concall bus? I
Van
call it.
services do about approximately 60,000 rides a year. The fixed-route bus services do about 400,000 rides a year.
Did you say 60 or 16?
60.
60.
What is it?
60. 60,000.
Okay, okay.
So you do 60,000 rides, and Council on Aging does 28,000.
It's
So it's like 88,000 rides for the whole year.
Not to speak for the council, but I'm sure that most of their services is of course centered at the center.
Right.
You know, someone will go there, they'll do a program, they'll get on a bus to go to a ride for a medical appointment, they'll come back. If they don't feel well, they'll say, I want to go home now. It's a little different.
Right.
I mean, we certainly could, I'm sure, accommodate some of those rides, but it would, and we do work together. There's many rides that they can't do because, as Janice explained, they aren't open late in the day, early in the morning. That's in dialysis trips. We have a band that starts at 4:30 in the morning to start dialysis, even on the weekend. Sometimes come back at 7 o'clock at night, and we go out of town because some facilities are in Milford. In fact, we do have two dialysis centers down Milford, which before we didn't. The other place we could go was Bridgeport and Haven, which was taxing. But, and now even those seats are getting so much filled that we're having to go outside of Milford again, that to go to Bridgeport and Haven, Shelton, for dialysis people. People are living longer on these services, and, you know, you take someone for quite a long time as a dialysis patient. It's 3 times a week. You can't call up and say, we're not open today because there's no school. We're going.
What are the fares on these things?
The fares on the fixed route buses are $1.50. Sorry, on the fixed route buses, they're $1.50, and on the vans, they're $2 each way. That's highly subsidized.
That's reasonable.
Well, it's very highly subsidized. You pick the city, state of Connecticut, the federal for the capital, you know, it certainly would be considerable, you know, considerably much more. And I believe that another attraction for the services at senior centers, they have a charge. They have a donation request.
Do we have student passes?
No.
No.
No, we have passes for by 10 on the fixed route buses, by 10-day passes, you buy all-day pass, that you can ride as much as you want all day. So it's discounted. 10-day pass is slightly discounted, and a 31-day pass for regular rider, or for the discounted pass for elderly or disabled rider, which is half the price.
The reason I ask that is because Boston, every school child has a pass, free.
Well, there's substitute.
But they use it in lieu of school buses.
School buses, yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
They're gonna be expensive. Okay.
Any further?
We're in good shape.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm not sure, the regional mental health, was that addressed the other night when we were here?
No, I don't.
I think Claire used to
Right.
tell them, but it's the same budget based upon per capita.
It's like 6 cents per capita.
Per capita, okay. Public library, 4193.
35.
How are you tonight?
So I think the budget that I presented, I kept it pretty flat, offsetting any increases in individual line items with some savings in operational costs. I think it's a very tight and sound budget. The library is an extraordinarily busy place, and it's getting busier and busier. We are really increasing our outreach and our programming. This past year, we circulated about 290,000 items throughout the year. We had about 175,000 visits to the library. About 19,000 people attended our programs throughout the year, and we had about 18,000 individual computer uses. So I think we're really doing a great job in providing a good service for the amount of money that we're asking for tonight. So what I have asked for in increases, the largest increases is in our seasonal 10th budget, and in our database line account, that's the magazine index databases, and in our computer account. And I've offset that with some savings in some of our procedural, our office supplies, postage, that type of thing. So I'd be happy to answer any
How
questions.
many computers do we have for the public?
We currently have 18, and that is thanks to the Board of Education, who donated 6 of their discarded computers to us this past year. 2 of them are currently broken. Well, I shouldn't say that. 1 is broken, and we had to take one of those to replace our microfilm computer. So we are down 2 already.
they're in use constantly. Reservations for them up to a week ahead of time, and they're in use all the time.
Reservation, you have to make a reservation?
Yes, yeah, we limit, because of the popularity of the computers, we limit the amount of time people can spend on them.
How long is the time?
We give 1 hour limits with a 15-minute extension.
Completely citizens?
We don't ask for ID to use the computers. So by that, I mean no for residents.
Right.
We don't ask for ID. The computers require a barcode number to sign into, but we can issue guest passes. So that people who are on their lunch hours perhaps, coming from a train station or whatever, we don't ask them. We don't monitor the usage.
Do you have Wi-Fi in the library?
We do have Wi-Fi, yes. So this, the computer number does not even include the amount of people who come in with their own laptops.
So Wi-Fi is paid for by the Nutmeg Network. It's a program from the state that gives us free Wi-Fi and free internet usage on the front end, not the back end, for the public to access the internet. And Chris has been doing a great job. I just started the One Town, One Book last night.
One city, one story.
One City, One Story.
Yes, very good.
Only got the first couple chapters in, but
On the books, so far you only spent 19,000 in the 6-month period.
That's actually probably not accurate. We have a lot of money encumbered. We encumber a lot to our vendors, so most of it is gone. I have not asked for an increase in that budget, even though the price of books has gone up. We are really trying to balance out our physical collection along with our online collection and our digital collection. Our e-content, e-books, and e-audio books are definitely rising in popularity. Some of that is paid for out of this electronic media account. Most of it is paid for out of the fines and fees that we now get to keep.
The rentals, where do they come out? Under this area or what? When you rent the books, you rent books, right, to supplement books, like the popular books?
We do have a McNaughton rental
Right.
service that comes out of our book budget.
That's the book budget,
Yes.
okay.
We do that for our popular bestsellers so that we can then return them afterwards.
Yeah,
I'm all set.
Thank you.
thank you.
Hey, anybody else here that wants to come to the board?
Save the best for last.
Come on up, Sheila.
I don't know, I take offense with that one.
Gonna keep you here till about 9, is that
Oh,
right?
that's perfect, let's talk. About my ginormous budget.
That's right. 4155 Economic Development.
20. Oh, 31.
4155
31.
31.
That's the dollar.
That's the dollar.
And then we got community
Community
on page
development is
20.
page 20.
Oh, community development, thank you, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
my mistake. 4123, community development,
Right.
and then 4155 is economic development. Thank you, I That's, makes more sense. Is there anything like the state of the board, or would you just?
Well, as you can see, the budget request is the same as it was last year. It worked well. We were able to trim a few expenses to create some savings and use that towards other items. So we feel like we're in a good place with the same budget as last year.
Excellent. Any questions from members of the board?
This one, I have no problem. That's easy.
Well, thank you for your
Thank you.
patience.
Yeah, that's great, thank you.
Next time I should be first because
We have to come up with some reason why we have to get you in and out of here, but
Thank you.
I probably should have.
we have by 7:30?
Yeah.
Thank you, sorry to keep you
Thanks.
waiting.
Here's the,
Good night, thank you.
where's the TV?
Really nice.
What was I saying?
Yeah.
Whoever starts off and sets the tone, they start off with
Oh, your general
one
expense?
presentation,
Yeah.
everybody follows suit.
TV access, what is
Oh,
that?
So
MGAT.
Judge Beverly got it first.
Yeah, what was
set
That is the beginning.
Everybody else can.
4116.
I mean, other nights were 9:30, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
How do you know that?
It's a job.
I just got a bug yet. I don't know what covered that.
Page 16.
I don't know what covered that.
You know, to my knowledge, they, in the past, more often than not, a representative has come before the Board of Aldermen during their hearings, but we, historically, it's been rare, I think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong,
I
but
think
we've
that's
had
right.
someone from MGAT come to the Board of Finance.
But we didn't hear it, though, right?
No, I don't. I mean, Mary Ann and I looked back, because we had that same
All right,
question.
shut the
too.
cameras. It's out of the budget, sorry. No one showed
No
up.
more.
Does anybody have any questions on MGAT now that we're
I
here?
do, because
I'm happy to
Mr.
answer
Mayor.
whatever questions you may
Yeah.
have as well.
Mr. Mayor.
the complaint I heard on that is that they cannot hear the public.
Okay, well, that's a technical question.
Yeah,
And we
and how
could,
can we correct it?
One of them is, in these particular meetings, we don't have a sophisticated sound system.
Right,
When the meetings are at either the Board of Education room or the
that's not even
the
good.
City Hall chamber, it's better because you have a live mic feeding in, but
Yeah.
in these situations, all you have is the mic that's attached to the camera.
Camera, right.
And it's, in terms of sound quality, not optimal.
Right.
So those are things, other than miking up each of the conference room A, B, and C, we can't do too much. We can host our meetings either exclusively in the Board of Ed room or in the Aldermanic Chamber at City Hall, but those are really the only options that we have.
Okay.
Were these general complaints or complaints about?
It's just a general that they, you know, like, if you look at on TV, you can hear us very well,
Right.
but when the
So one-sided,
presenters come up,
so one-sided conversation.
yeah. They just recently heard that one. And I said, I really want my board to be the best.
Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention, Mr. Fitzpatrick. I think that's it.
Thank you for the
Further
patience.
for this evening? Well, it's hard to believe, but we are done with the department heads for another year. This meeting is Wednesday night for the technical discussion on the budget. Hopefully everyone can make it, and thank you for rescheduling it to accommodate my
You just
schedule.
cost me 2 hockey games.
And thank you, Mr. Fitzpatrick. You can tape them.
Killed me, no, yeah, I'll tape them where?
So what do you want
At
to
the
watch?
rink?
Joe, what do you want to watch them for? You're going to be the coach, aren't you?
Yeah, right.
So I think everyone's been on the board long enough. I mean, we'll go through the budget, and if there's any changes that members would like to suggest, I think that's the appropriate time to do it. And Peter can get us in shape for our vote the following week.
And if there's any adjustments that you can think of in anticipation of that, Peter can actually, in advance of that meeting, provide you some initial figures. Sometimes he'll even draft the sheets for you folks to consider as well.
Thank you for that, that's a good point. Any further? Stay warm, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
You got it. Thanks, Murray.
At 7:30 tonight.
Oh, yeah.
7:30.
I know.
Fast. Fast, real fast.
Oh, we only had.
Is this very hard?
We're out before 8.